What is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Tonight we're going to fly into the stories, but first I just want to let you know this is a live call-in show, so anything can happen. You can call in at 224-400-MARF, and just to let you know, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that out of the way, if you're not getting notifications from any of the other platforms, make sure to get ours. You can actually get push notifications by going to marfooglenews.com. There's a red bell there, or you'll actually get a box that says allow notifications from Marfoogle News. That just tells you exactly when we are live, and it will tell you if we put out an article. So very simple. Also, we're going to be putting out articles there as well. Thank you guys all for being patient with us through this 2-month period of just absolute real hell for any creator on any of these platforms. So thank you, and I really do, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you viewing. And if you're new here, the chat will welcome you with open arms. We're a very positive and awesome community, and you guys make that. So thank you. And then, of course, if you want to follow along, every single story that we have here, every single tweet, every single video, every single article is going to have a source. You're not going to wonder what it is and where it's coming from. We actually give you the source of that, the Twitter handle. Wherever we get this information, we actually give you access to that on our website. In fact, it's very easy to navigate. Dex, our tech guy, is so amazing. He has made this extremely easy to navigate. You just go to this thumbnail, and then when you go to the main page, you will see that that is on there. It says Zapped in real life, and we're going to talk about that. Scott Baio, minus Scott Baio, of course. When you click on this, you'll see every single link is right there. So you can go through any of the stories. You can follow along on a second device. And then, of course, the callers down at the bottom will be updated by the end of the show. This is live, so those will be added in as we go by Dex. And then on the right side, if you want to support independent news and get us to the point where we can actually defend ourselves and do more, it would be great if you guys supported us over there. Any of our affiliates are there. Any of the sponsors here will be right there for you as well. And I guess the last thing is to introduce Dex. Dex, what is going on, and how are you doing tonight?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm a little bit cold here tonight. So
you have snow in Georgia, is that right?
Yeah, it was kind of freaky. Yeah, we had some snow, some November snow, something we don't normally see. It's usually not until January through March that we ever see some snow.
Well, I think pretty much every place around the country the last 5 years has had things that never happen, or record-breaking rain, or, I mean, we had here in Washington, in Seattle, we had, what was it, 40 days? It was 40 days and nights of rain straight, but then it went way past that. I think it was like 60-something days, and then we hit it again the next year, like just crazy stuff that has been happening. Of course, there's heat waves that have happened over the last couple of years that were the worst we've ever seen, and then, of course, they say that is tying into the planet changing and all of this. Whether it is or not, it's most likely it's something that's going to happen, and we're going to have to ride along with it. But besides the debate on that, though, I think we all have had some crazy weather. Again, if you guys have videos of any weather or a sighting in the skies, or if you've seen something crazy, remember that we have added marfooglenews.com /play my video. You can actually submit your videos and have them played here. Any videos, again, you can link there. Make sure to link your own. We're not going to accept videos on that specific site of anyone else's. So you can't say, hey, look at Mr. MBB333, which that's fine, totally great, but this site is directly for your videos. If you caught something, that way we can actually catch it and see it in the thousands of emails and messages we get a day. All right, so getting right into the news, and we'll be saying hi to the chat here in a second. I want to say thank you to Nikki in Hickavoig. Thank you for being the last one out yesterday, or at least, I guess, 2 days ago. Thank you for the $10 super chat there. And Sports Talk with Beck, thank you for being the last one out, along with Carol Palmer as well. Thank you, guys. And then, of course, one of the main subjects tonight is something that I have been talking about for now weeks, because now all of this weird stuff is coming out about brainwaves and how they are reading them. There was about 3 weeks ago, and by the way, there's no mistake that they are telling you about these things and kind of giving you one more piece at a time. In my opinion, this is going to be something that they morally have to put over on us and get us okay with. Basically, they're putting our feet in the water. They're dipping our feet in the water and getting us warmed up to the idea of not only reading minds, which, okay, this isn't some crazy, this isn't some crazy psychic fiction story. This is actual brainwaves being read by machines, and now quantum computing is doing things that we have never thought was possible. Now you're talking about the story that came out a couple weeks ago. They said that now they can actually, the brainwaves that are being sent out by our brain, they can now read certain ones. So say standing or breathing or walking, they know what those look like when they're getting shot out of our brain. It's electrons being shot out, right? Well, they can read that from outside of our head. Now, this sounds like fiction, but it is really not. It is now something that is now becoming science fact. And once it becomes science fact, we're going to get into a really weird world. And I'm sure you guys have talked about this on your own. A lot of you guys have friends that think you're crazy and all of this. Let me just get you right out of the way in the beginning. We don't. In fact, I know that everybody here in my audience has different views of all different kinds, different political beliefs. Doesn't matter what you believe. I hope that we can find a common ground and really, really dig our feet in and be together and lock arms, because that's what we're going to need. I don't think people realize that there is a bigger force at hand here, and it has nothing to do with anything that is being shown to you on the media, probably including my own. So make sure you guys are seriously taking effort to get over your own cognitive dissonance, and we all have it, and looking past all of these things and getting together, because this is really going to matter very soon. I cannot tell you very much clearer than that. And nobody has to believe me. You guys can do your own thing. But again, we've shown you all the signs over the last 3 years of what's about to happen. It's pretty clear that something's going down. Soldiers could one day communicate through brainwaves, say researchers. A breakthrough in decoding brain signals could be the first step towards soldiers communicating without having to speak aloud during military ops. It says a new research has successfully separated brain signals that influence behavior and actions from those who do not. It says, according to the publication Net, which covers emerging trends in military warfare technology. It says, funded by the U.S. Army Research Office, the study used an algorithm and complex mathematics to identify which brain signals were directing movement or behavior relevant signals, and then we're able to remove those signals from the other stagnant brain signals unrelated to behavior. This is exactly what we were talking about. This is literal movement. If you're moving your arms or if you're talking, they can actually pick up on that, and that is something that is going to advance. And then once they've got kind of a baseline of things, then they can start separating, and then they can start pulling out things like, are you angry? Are you sad? Are you lying? Are you telling the truth? That's where the real craziness comes in. Think about a lie detector very soon that will actually be telling if you're lying or not. If you're lying, it's going to trigger something in your brain, and they're going to know. Not like a tremble or anything else. It's going to be an actual signal that tells them, hey, you're not only lying, but you're also thinking about your mistress or something. Who knows? It says, we're not only measuring signals, but we're interpreting them, says Hamed Krim, a program manager for the Army Research Office. So it says researchers are keen to further develop their findings to a point where a machine could provide feedback to a soldier's brains, giving them the opportunity to take corrective action before something happens. A feature that can only one day protect the health of service people. Notice how they frame that in protect the service people or protect you. This is going to be a protection. It's going to be convenience. It's going to be something that either helps you or saves you from something, when really it could be used for bad as well. I don't really have to explain to any of you why this could be a bad thing. I'm sure most of you are already having thoughts or having conversations in your own homes about how this could turn real ugly. You get that, though. I know you guys are awesome. Talking from all of you guys here. KG Stasic, thank you. It's nice to see you here. Been doing this for a while with DARPA. Exactly. These things are now just coming out in public, and I think that they're getting our feet wet, and they are about to release more and more and more. And if you haven't noticed, the most craziest things that we would have never accepted as fact have come out just little bits at a time. Technology, all these little things have come out in just little baby steps, and it gets us used to it. That's why a lot of people think that there's going to be some sort of disclosure for aliens, because they've given us little baby steps and gotten us used to it. Why? Well, because most of us have a religion or a baseline religion. Again, now that is actually faltering as well. There's a lot of atheists. There's a lot of people that don't believe in anything. Possibly they do, but they don't know what, right? But as far as most of us, we kind of have these preset beliefs. Also, a good chunk of the world is still religious and still has these baseline thoughts. Now, if you throw something in there that messes up any of that, it could flip the world on its side. If people lose what they've thought is, basically if people think they've been lied to their entire life, people go crazy. And we've seen that with some things. But as far as with the aliens or anything like this, they've given you tiny little pieces, and it may lead up to them putting a projection of an alien coming down. It could be totally projected up there just to make us think that, to make us all unite under one everything, right? And you guys know what I'm talking about. That's what they say is a false alien arrival, right? Well, all of this, going back to what it is all talking about in all of these systems, these are all going to be into play. These are all going to go into effect. This is why when President DT says things like, we have a military like the Earth has never seen, that's talking about some of this kind of stuff. I bet you there's a lot of this that's already in use and being used against others. Just like China and Russia most likely have microwave stuff that's been, pointed at our embassies for years. In fact, I've covered it for at least 3 years, people getting zapped. And hence the name of the show, Zapped, and the future of the comms. Will they have a future, or will we have a future of connecting via telekinesis or some sort of thing? When you put it that way, it sounds very Scott Baio and 1980s fiction, but is it? That's the question I would ask you guys. Mama of 6, it's nice to see you here tonight. Jaybird42, we've got Toadman. Nice to see you, Geisy. Johnny Doom, Mama of 6, thank you so much. It looks like I'm not connected to YouTube, so I'll go over to the main chat here. Let's see if I have that. And bam, bam. And it says, I love Beagles is here. It says, Brian Warper, DEW, zap emoji. We've got Twisted Luck Truth. Nice to see you here. Channel Jammer or Jammer1. By the way, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something for you here. Let's see here. Let's go to Twitter. And then let's see. Let's look up Channel Jammer. You get Channel Jammer. Just wanted to make a quick announcement. See if we can find it. Channel Jammer is he's a very active member. There's 28,000. Let's see here. Let's go to here. And just for Channel Jammer, we're going to retweet this. Don't know why it's not showing here. Let's see here. Let's pop this up. Bam, bam. Watch this. Okay. There you go, Channel Jammer. Congrats, we hit 30,000 on DLive today. And I'm going to retweet it just for you. Bam, bam. So, that's sort of an inside joke. AI solves 50-year-old science problem in stunning advance that could dramatically change how we fight diseases, researchers say. A 50-year-old science problem has been solved and could allow for dramatic changes in the fight against diseases, researchers say. For years, scientists have been struggling with the problem of, quote, protein folding, mapping the three-dimensional shapes of the proteins that are responsible for the diseases from cancer to CV. It says Google's DeepMind claims to have created an artificially intelligent program called AlphaFold, which basically gives me, chills here, that is able to solve those problems in a matter of days. If it works, that the solution has come decades before it was expected, according to experts, that could have transformative effects in the way diseases are treated. It says there are 200 million known proteins at present, but only a fraction have actually been unfolded to fully understand what they do and how they work. It says even though those have been successfully understood, often rely on expensive and time-intensive techniques, with scientists spending years unfolding each structure and relying on equipment that can cost many millions of dollars. It says DeepMind, this Google AI, the internet search browser, which is now involved in AI and everything else, says worked on the AI project with the 14th community-wide experiment on the critical assessment of techniques for protein structure prediction, or CASP-14, a group of scientists who have been looking into the matter since 1994. It says proteins are extremely complicated molecules, and their precise three-dimensional structure is key to the many roles that they perform. For example, the insulin that regulates our sugar levels in our blood, and the antibodies that help us fight infections. John Molt said, chair of CASP. It says even tiny rearrangements of these vital molecules can have catastrophic effects on our health. So one of the most efficient ways to understand disease and find new treatments is the study of the proteins involved. It says there are tens of thousands of human proteins and many billions in other species, including bacteria and viruses, but working out the shape of just one requires expensive equipment that can take years. So, sum this up, Google is now involved with DeepMind, and DeepMind is looking for ways to basically get rid of diseases, or at least open them up to be able to attack or get in and try to solve them, right? This is kind of freaky to me because, first of all, and what is crazy about the proteins and all of these things that happen is one day you're healthy and the next, boom, you've got cancer. And many have theorized that they actually have ways to do this, or they've had ways to do this, but what is happening is pharmaceutical companies wouldn't like that, because one of the most expensive and biggest industries in the world is taking care of those cancers, taking care of how many dollars would you pay to live an extra 3 months? We have the Rob Matters. He just found out he has stage 4, I believe, colon cancer. Stage 4, I believe, colon cancer. 4 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 I When you find out you have something that far along, you're basically spending money to figure out how can I buy another day? How can I buy another month? And you'll spend anything and everything. And if you do have insurance, you'll spend whatever you have on there plus more. You'll sell your house. You'll sell everything. Because life is one of the most valuable things that we take for granted, especially if you are healthy. I've had many runs in with death. I've had my fair share of things happen and my fair share of health issues that I don't talk about. And it is very scary. So there's a part of all of us that want this and say, this is great. But why the names that are involved? Why are they getting involved? And if you look at what is actually going on overall, it's kind of scary. The fact that these same folks are kind of getting involved in so much. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? That's a question I pose. Gone Girl 777, thank you so much for being here. It's so lovely to have you here. And then, of course, it says, it's creepy. High Velocity is here. Thank you, Scooby-Doo, Do Right, Renegade PD, Johnny Doom. All of you guys, I appreciate you being here. I really do. And, of course, Hopkinson is here. And then we have, let's see, Clinton Stones, Just Jenny. We've got Vango 54, Ray Witzak, William Davis. My cousin has a very rare bladder cancer. Very rare type, says Pamela Kelly. There's so many. I knew one of the fittest guy ever. The guy, besides my friend that died of cancer, I took him to his chemo for 6 months straight. He was not the healthiest. So like when 6 months took him out, it was it was crazy, and it's fast and unexpected, but it's not unheard of. When my other friend, who was a security guard for many different clubs, who was one of the fittest people in the world, was a fitness trainer on the side, had 2 jobs, was constantly running, hiking, jumping out of planes. The guy was a picture of fitness. He had more abs than I have Legos. It was insane. But in 4 months, he went from being diagnosed to 120 pounds from 280 in all muscle, and he withered away like nothing. So there's parts of us that want this to happen, and then there's parts of us that absolutely are afraid of what and who is behind all of this. Because imagine if they dangled the carrot of life right in front of you. What would you give up? Would you give up freedoms if you could have life? Sadly, I bet you would. Most people would. But they just have to, and most people that are saying, no, I wouldn't, you don't have the, I guess, the choices right now, right? You don't have the ultimatum yet. If they do give us an ultimatum, watch. Most people will jump on the bandwagon because there's no other choice. And you won't see it, and you won't know it's an ultimatum. What it will be is it will be disguised in convenience. And for those that say, no, I won't, think about how you've already put your fingerprint on your phone. You've put your iris scan. You've put your facial recognition in. You're being listened to. You even have a tracker on your phone that tells you it's tracking. It's actually a newest update on all phones for contact tracing. These things are all just put in and just do little baby steps, and we're like, oh, whatever. Edward Snowden, this is how I know that people will accept things like this. Edward Snowden came out with what happened. We all know it happens, but people don't even talk about it anymore. People don't care that they're listened to. In fact, it's to the point where most people don't even cover their laptop cameras, even though we absolutely know everything on there is being recorded. Even after they said they deleted 600 million calls. Sure they did. Grace for you too says, hi Foogle fam, looking healthy, Marf. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I've been drinking tons of water and doing my regimen. But who knows? Tomorrow I could be sick. Nelly14, thank you for the lemons. And then Jen, Wisconsin, Moody Mama, Jeep 71. Nice to see you here as well. Thank you. Justin Baldwin says, people, please stop now and give the show a thumbs up. Really would be appreciated. If you're watching the replay especially, you have you can pause, do whatever. You can push the thumbs up. I never ask you guys to do that, but it does help with the new and old algorithm. Very, very cool if you guys would do that. Let's see here. What do you guys think about this? I think it's horrifying. And then again, remember the phone number to call is 2244-00-MARF. That's again 2244-00-6273. Of course, that will be scrolling on the black line below, and then on of course the blue line, that is all of the folks who donated from last show. Thank you guys. Just explaining to new people here. Gone Girl 777, thank you so much. An AI tool that can distinguish between conspiracy theory and a true conspiracy. It comes down to how easily the story falls apart. Okay, just by the title of this story, you would think, no. Please don't tell me that there's going to be a new company that is called, Fact Check AI. And basically they say, well, no, Fact Check AI checked this, and it's not true because of, all of these. Here's the problem with the algorithm. If there's an algorithm that says something is fake and it says that the story falls apart, is it basing it off of facts that were also checked by biased sources? Do you guys see what I mean? So say they go into, say they go into anything right now, currently. They go into something, this doesn't exist. So they go, oh, well, these things were flipped from this to that, right? They go to all of the sources all over the internet, and they're saying this doesn't exist, it's not an issue, it's not an issue. Well, half of the United States does think it is. So this algorithm would take all of, 9 out of 10 media outlets and say this is what they think, and then therefore it would say everything else. My fear is on something like this, an AI program that basically, and this is where this is going, they'll have AI algorithms, which they already have, I'm sure, say this is conspiracy theory, this is a conspiracy. It says, the audio on the otherwise shaky body camera footage is unusually clear. Let's see here. It says, as police officers search a handcuffed man who moments before had fired a shot inside a pizza parlor. It says an officer asked him why he was there. The man says to investigate a pedo ring. Incredulous, the officer asks again. Another officer chimes in. This, I can't even say that, by the way. He's talking about this. And it says, in that brief, chilling interaction in 2016, it becomes clear that these guys, long relegated to the fringes of society, had moved into the real world in a very dangerous way. So, first off, looking at that one instance and saying that the internet is now turning people into something, I don't understand. And I think any logical, reasonable person would say that's one person who took it too far. You could watch GTA games and then go around and remember, they have said this for everything. For video games, they said video games to blame for this, video games to blame for that. Movies are to blame for this. Batman was to blame for this. The movie was to blame for this. Joker was to blame for this. They're always pawning it off on somebody else, but they're not saying, well, okay, this guy did something physically to do it. But do you notice how they grabbed onto that and turned it into the, biggest thing and say that is the one instance, and now everything behind that is this. That's scary how they can do that. It says, theories which have the potential to cause significant harm have found a welcome home on social media, where forms free-form moderation allow like-minded individuals to converse. Okay, do you see this? Do you know what this is called, by the way? Where forms free from moderation allow like-minded individuals to converse. What there's places like this? No. I got to read that again. Where forms free from moderation, no moderation, so nobody's, what? Allow like-minded, so people that think the same thing, to converse, so they get to talk. They can develop their theories and propose actions to counteract the threats they uncover. So if 10,000 people think something, it's probably wrong because they're talking about it. They're conversing. They're figuring this stuff out. They're digging into things where obviously all that gets you is nowhere. I'm starting to see what they're saying. It says, but how can you tell if an emerging narrative on social media is an unfounded conspiracy theory? It turns out that it's possible to distinguish between the theories and true conspiracies by using machine learning tools to graph the elements and connections of a narrative. Those tools could be from the basis of an early warning system to alert authorities to online narratives that pose a threat in the real world. You see? All we need is AI to do this stuff for us. We don't have to think anymore. We can have AI do this. Dex, you're a tech guy. I mean, is this not... it sounds like a perfect place. We don't have to think about things. We don't question anything. We shouldn't. We should let the AI do it for us. I mean, this just makes sense.
Hey Adam, I'm back. You're talking about the AI and the sensors?
Yeah.
Yeah. Creepy.
So
this technology is just going to keep advancing, right? And
it's already here.
It's already there. They've got it. And not only that, but the more they do, and the more it learns. Right. So every day, every interaction with everybody on every social network, with all of the, you heard Zuck tell that he has like 30,000+ employees doing this. I promise you that every one of those employees that may be doing it is feeding a system that's learning from those people. So they don't need 30,000 people to do it. They'll have computers to do it.
And they've already applied it. This was a study, University of California, to, of course, the study of the gate and CV. And, of course, you got to get that in there, too. So... I hope you guys understand that where this is going is not going to be fun. If you guys want to help support us and protect yourself, I have been telling you guys, and we have let you guys know in many different ways, many other people out there, especially my colleagues, have been telling you people need to protect themselves against the possibility of an EMP. The reason why is because they're basically all of the government, all of the military is actually prepping for a huge EMP, or at least to protect themselves against one. But yet none of the civilians are. Why? Don't get that. And they're not doing it on most of the civilian level. They say that they're going to try. President T-Man got an actual EMP resilience report from Department of Homeland Security and signed a bill to immediately harden the grid. Who knows, though? That might actually be undone. That's what people are already talking about. But again, EMP Shield is one of the companies that has not only helped DHS, DOD, but now is officially on the DEMSO team helping the Texas grid protect themselves. This is a device, many different devices actually. They have over 44 devices that they make for different things that can actually ground the signal of all three phases of an EMP. So whatever kind of EMP hits, it will ground the signal before it fries the device. It can also help protect against a solar flare up to 228,000 amps and even lightning. So once you install one of these in your house, your car, or even your solar system, you can actually protect yourself against even simple lightning. So again, you can go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/EMP. Don't tell us we didn't warn you there. So thank you for all of you guys that have already done it. If you've ever dealt with the company, Andrew and EMP Shield and everybody there, hands down, one of the best companies that any of us have ever worked with, especially as customers before we were affiliates. So again, Gone Girl, thank you so much for being here tonight again. Snowboard, Mama of Six, Miss Mew, Scooby-Doo Do Right, Cadillac Tony, thank you for following. As always, if you follow during the show, you will get a shout out. Trey or Trex Lexter, thank you for following as well. Cementing us over 30,000. Thank you guys. Lisa K, thank you for gifting subs to the channel. I appreciate that. Let's take our first caller, and then we will get over to Moscow. Calls on U.S. to refrain from violating Russian territorial waters, reserves right to retaliate. Talk about that, and of course the two guys that we just took out as a country that could start all sorts of things. Let's see here. I will head over as well, say hi to some other folks here. Little Stumpy says, you rock. Mildred McClarkin says, Marfoogle, can we install it ourselves? Well, that depends. You should have an electrician do it. Other than that, I'll just say that I know that people have. You have to check with your local laws and your local state authorities to do that. But any of the questions, you can go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Once you get to their site, you have a whole section of frequently asked questions. And then Open House Texas, thank you so much for your support. Appreciate that. Lily Monolith MSM. Monolith, by the way, apparently moved. We'll probably cover that. I think that's in here. If it's not, I will pull that up. And then Magnetic Reversal News, says Mr. Tim. See Magnetic Reversal News. Oh man, there's so many crazy weird earth things going on. Ice Pick Lobotomy says blame Canada. I guess I'm not okay with that. And Nita Lane, thank you, I appreciate that. And Sweetio Dimitrov says, aha, not worth covering ISIT, says highly blessed. I don't know. We might already have it in the list. Let's see here. Reading the Gospel says nothing. Just dropped a Ninja Guinea. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And then over on the YouTube side, I will end up popping in just a second. Dex, I'm going to leave it over to you to pop in a caller. Let me see here.
Okay, Adam, our first caller is Chris. I'm getting Chris on the line now. And by the way, that question about EMP, the automobile, you certainly can install yourself. The home, though, definitely, unless you have done electrical work or you're an electrician, I would recommend hiring one.
Well, I installed the one in my car. I had my friend who is an electrician do it on the house. So
yeah,
the house one, I didn't want to shock myself, to be honest. The car one was easy.
Do it. It took like 5-10 minutes. It's so simple, but yeah, I didn't want to do it either.
The car one was easy. Did you do the one
Nobody
on yours?
wants to do it.
Exactly. Chris,
you're live.
Brainwaves and Wireless Communications.
Hey, how y'all doing?
What's going on?
Not much. Just so you know, the reason why nobody is preparing for an EMP is because if the government, if all the electricity goes out, I mean, what's the point in having one? You know what I mean?
Well, no. That's not true at all.
Generators.
Yep, you should have your generators, and if your devices...
If the entire system goes out, if the entire system goes out across the country, the only people that's going to be good with the EMP Shield is with generators.
That's why
99% of the people ain't going to have them.
And that's why we've suggested getting a generator, because if you do... People say that all the time. They say the whole system's down, the grid's not coming back on for 9 months. If you have gas prepped, you have a generator, and then of course your house is protected, so all your devices still work, and your car still runs. You can get to your place. But if you didn't do that, so say if you did have your generator protected, but you didn't have your house, what are you going to power with that? So I guess it's a combination of things. So what do you think about the brainwaves as far as everything that is happening right now and what they're telling us?
That's more crazy piled on top of crazy. I don't understand how something like that would be able to work. I know Tesla, he's the one that, he's the inventor of most of the things that we use today. I mean, I don't know where he got his technology from, but being able to sit in a room on the other side of the world and whisper into somebody's ear and only that person can hear you, that is some massive technology.
And it's already happening. That's something we talked about as well. In fact, that's something that they're going to be selling. Do you remember that episode just about a week ago where you can sit in front of something and only you can hear it in the entire room? It's directed sound.
Directed sound waves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe that the military was working with this back in the 80s, the same technology. Anytime that we get something, the military has already had for 30 to 40 years. Anytime that it's released to the public, it's been out for 30 years in the military or CIA or somewhere. Somebody's been using it before the public gets it.
Well, it is pretty crazy. Well, so is there a point that you wanted to make today, Chris, before you go?
It's a little off topic, but let's see. I'm gonna want to word this without getting anybody in trouble. No matter who wins the fight, not Tyson, but no matter what, it's already planned for number 3. They're not giving up like that. No matter what, it's already planned according to sources from Steve Quell and Dave Hodges.
Well, I agree with you there. I don't know. I haven't listened to any of Dave Hodges' most recent stuff, but I do agree with that.
He's got with Paul, I believe Paul Martin and him just did an interview last night on the CommonSenseShow.com. It'll be the very first at the bottom of the page. There's all of his interviews. You guys should all go and listen to some of them.
Well, what we can do, Chris, is we can actually link that on our website at marfooglenews.com. Well, I want to thank you for calling in tonight, and I'll actually pull it up on screen and send some people over to the Common Sense Show. And I appreciate your view, Adam, and I appreciate your call.
You guys all have a good night. God bless you.
God bless you as well. That was Chris. Totally forgot where he called from. But talking about how Nikola Tesla invented a lot of the stuff that we use today. As far as what he was talking about, we talked about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And yes, there's directed sound, and there's actually been, in some museums, which I think the thing I pulled up is sort of like, it's sort of like what you've seen in a museum. So the rest of the museum doesn't hear it. They'll have a very focused speaker, kind of a spotlight where you hear like, it will say dinosaurs lived 65 million years ago, and it will be a directed speaker in a science center or something like that. But what we're talking about is a new technology, and I don't know, Dex, if you remember what it was called, and any of you guys watching at home, do you remember what the name of it was? Because this new technology that's coming out for now consumers is a direct to ear technology. No one else in the room can hear it. You don't have to wear earphones. It's directly sending waves to your ears, and somehow it sounds like you're in surround sound, but no one else can hear it. That is freaky. Is that not? This is all part of this, and they're just baby steps. We've had 7 or 8 stories regarding these direct-to-brain, voice-to-skull type things come out right now. Not on top of that, the embassy, all of the stuff going on, all these people getting microwaved. This is all stuff that is now coming out, and now it's kind of like more of it's coming public. And you guys know, it's probably been around for 10, 15 years, 20 years, like he said in the 80s. All right, let's see here. Moscow calls on U.S. to refrain from violating Russian territorial waters. Of course, we've been going back and forth in the waters for a long time here. Of course, we're always got jets over there. They've got jets over here. We're always escorting people out. But it says the statement responds to an earlier incident involving the USS John S. McCain. We talked about that the other day. According to the Russian MOD, or Ministry of Defense, violated the country's maritime border by 2 kilometers in the Sea of Japan. It says the Russian Foreign Ministry has strongly condemned the crossing of the USS John S. McCain destroyer into Russia's territorial waters into the Peter the Great Gulf. It says in a statement, the ministry said it qualifies the incident as an open provocation aimed at violating peace and order, noting that Russia reserves the right to retaliate. Now, funny timing on this, Dex, I don't know if you agree on this, but funny timing that they just said that, considering we just took out 2 Ryanian bigwigs. And I say it on purpose like that because of the algo gods. If you don't get what I'm saying, please make sure to check with another Foogle fam member. So what do you guys think about that? Why do they leave it open for retaliation? I have a feeling that I'm going to wrap this up when we get to the other stories about the drone taking out this guy. The U.S. just took out 2 big wigs in that country. I'm going to wrap that up with that Russian story, so just hold that thought. Russia successfully tests terrifying new 9,000 miles per hour Star Wars missile that can blow up U.S. satellites in space. Remember just about 3 or 4 months ago, and if you've watched every day, then you're caught up on all this, how we came out, our defense, DOD came out and said they have weaponized space. And then it kind of clicks, Space Force, click, click, click. All of these rockets, click, click, click. Secret payloads on SpaceX, click, click, click. All of it's starting to click together, and you're like, oh, okay. They're going to knock satellites out. We're not going to have internet. We're not going to have power. We're not going to have something. And it could all happen at once. So what the previous caller said, in my opinion, IMO, for short, if you're under 25, I think there will be a conflict 3. And I don't think that's fear-mongering or war-mongering or whatever. It's preparing and being personally ready to be the patriarch of my family, and my wife is ready to be the matriarch and get ready. We're both getting ready for anything and everything. And that's because we would like to be reasonable. There's 24 hours in a day. Most of it is wasted by so many of us. We can spend 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes a week preparing for something that is unexpected. Because if you spend 0 minutes a day, 0 minutes a week preparing for something that's unexpected, then you don't live long. Smartest of people prepare. Including the government, the military, they drill every single scenario, including aliens coming down, meteors hitting. They drill for it. So why don't we? Well, no structure, nothing to push us. We think Big Daddy George is going to save us. Russia has tested a terrifying new 9,000 mile per hour, quote, Star Wars ballistic missile capable of destroying U.S. satellites in space. Remember, they said they have now weaponized space. They've gone where we weren't going to go. We had a peace treaty in space, and they've done it. This is just the beginning. Some say that it's already going on up there. The rocket was launched from the Sari-Shagin test site in Kazakhstan. Weird that popped up. And wiped out a dummy target, according to the Kremlin. So they wiped out a false by the way, that's dangerous because if that starts, if we believe what's going on up there, if that goes out of orbit and starts hitting other satellites, it can become a domino effect, especially with now our new Starlink system of hundreds of satellites. Boom, one hits another, then you send shrapnel spinning around the Earth and back into our system or into other satellites. And then if you knock out a few satellites, all of a sudden we don't have cell phones, which oddly enough, they're trying to get all of our licenses and IDs over to cell phones so we can then say, oh, well, the network's out. We can't verify that license. Why would we go digital with that kind of stuff? I don't know. I digress. Says the new missile has reliably confirmed its characteristics in a series of tests, claimed Audrey Doyeman, commander of the 1st Air and Missile Defense Army of Russian Aerospace Forces. However, no details were released about the missile's precise performance in the test or the target, and the weapon remains shrouded in secrecy. Says Commander of the United States Space Command John Raymond said in April that Russia's extraterrestrial interceptor missiles pose a challenge to U.S. interests in near space. And remember, they were actually launching, Russia had this experimental thing that was flying around for months, 6 months at a time, and we didn't know what it was. They believed it was a new weapon, a rod of God type thing. And now they're confirming a lot of this stuff. So says the threats to U.S. space systems and their allies are real, serious, and increasing. Russia is known to be developing a mobile, long-range, extraterrestrial interceptor missile named 14TS-033 Noodle. Really? Is it called Noodle? We're going to send the Noodle. Shoot the noodle at them. I'm sure noodle means something tough like riding a horse bareback with chest hair, but here it means noodle. The two-stage 14TS-033 may be used on a new A-235 missile defense system, which is being developed to protect Moscow's airspace. What do you guys think? Do you think they've weaponized space already? Beirut. Sorry, had a cough. The Army wants to launch drone swarms behind enemy lines from high-altitude balloons. It says the balloons could also collect intelligence, serve as communication relays, and send sensors falling down to the ground to watch for enemy activity. Wow. So, swarms, drone swarms, down to the ground to watch for enemy activity. It says the U.S. Army is looking at developing a network of high-altitude balloons that would fly up in the stratosphere, super high up there, and be able to launch swarms of unmanned aircraft, including those configured as loitering munitions. So they chill out until they are used and take out people, also known as suicide drones. Over enemy-controlled territory, these lighter-than-air vehicles could also be configured as sensor platforms and collect various kinds of intelligence or deploy other surveillance systems that would fall to the ground in order to monitor hostile environments. It says as well as act as communication relays. I don't know if you remember this, but we covered these balloons that were taking up, and they said that they were for internet that would eventually land, and they said we'll have internet everywhere. I almost think all of these things are really secretly just to transport weapons. It's crazy. It says the Army Program Executive Office for Intelligence, Electronic Warfare and Sensors, or get this is just, simple little abbreviation, PEOIEWNS, posted a briefing which had presented at a recent industry day event and showed that general depictions of these concepts of operation on the U.S. government's top contracting websites, beta.samg.gov, because they're so good at naming them, last week that the balloons are one part of a broader multi-domain sensing system, or MDSS, concept that the Army is in the early stages of developing. Unfortunately, Russia, in other news, is developing the largest dart throwing system. If you want to support us in a different way, there, of course, are more hackers than ever before. With more people at home, working from home, and doing all of their other shenanigans, there are more bad guys trying to get into your identity and your credit card numbers and your settings on your computer than ever before. If you want to protect yourself, you should have a virtual private network. I don't think that most anybody who is very good with a computer does not have one. But if you are not good with a computer, this is the one for you, because you just download it and it has a mode that you can just turn it on. It just does everything for you. It's like an auto mode. Boom, done. You can go to marfooglenews.com. Not only do you get a savings, you don't pay extra, you actually save a heap, but you also help us. We get a small commission of that on top of getting you a savings. So that's, again, using the code Marfoogle at marfooglenews.com/VPN. Thank you in advance. And then, of course, almost 1/3 of small businesses in New Jersey have closed. Period. We'll talk about that here in a second. Let's get our next caller on. Dex, if you want to bring our next caller, it looks like we have. Let's see here. It looks like we have Geneva and an experience with an ER visit over abdominal pain and age discrimination. Okay. Calling in from Colorado, we have Geneva. And then up on deck, we have Unico, a first-time caller, talking about the creature designated organism 46B was an aquatic beast allegedly captured by a Russian scientific team. Whoa, that sounds like a crazy one. I'm down for that too.
Hey, Adam, I'm trying to get Geneva. Geneva, you are now live on air.
Thank you very much, Dex.
All right, Geneva,
hello, Mark.
You are live. And then, Dex, just so you know, I still cannot see YouTube side. So if we could get that in screener. Okay, so Geneva, what was your experience at the ER? You said you had abdominal pain?
Yes, sir. So, yeah, you can hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Oh, good. Yeah, so wish I could have some better news, but I'm not feeling too good. I've been going through some health issues myself. You were talking about health issues and stuff. But this is a story episode about what happened to me a couple of weeks ago going to the emergency room. I've been going through some medical issues now for, I'd say, going on 6 months. And they're just starting to get down to finally what's going on with my abdomen. I was in so much pain. I mean, it was excruciating pain. So I had my friend drop me off in the emergency room at 3 p.m. and signed in and told him how much I was hurting. I was even having chest pain because the pain was radiating and everything. And I ended up getting there at 3 p.m. and not leaving till 3 a.m. and waiting 7 hours before anybody even saw me. And they said that they were too busy, but I took pictures and it was empty. It was empty. They were taking all the young folks first, the young people. And it was just really appalling. It was so sad. I have a history I'm a nurse, retired of 20 years, so I know how the medical system's supposed to work. Anyway, so they had me sitting down there for 3 hours. I walk up and I say, I'm hurting really bad, and am I going to see somebody? Well, we'll let you know. You just have to wait. So I think another couple hours, and I went up there, I think total 4 hours, and I told the lady that, I am hurting so bad, I'm going to have to lay down or something. And I said, should I? Asked her, I said, I'm going to lay on the floor. And she said, go ahead, do what you have to do. So I did. I laid on the floor right next to the vending machines and used my backpack, as a headrest, covered up. And I'm watching everything, and all of the people that were coming in and being taken back were all younger, like anywhere from 20 to maybe 30s and 40s. Anybody there was 90-year-olds there was 80-year-olds there. They were falling off the chairs. They weren't even getting assisted. There was people that were really, really sick. They were crying and they were sitting on the floor. And it was like, okay, do you guys know anything about triage or, anything like this kind of stuff? Anyway, they finally took me in, and the doctor said, wow, they should have brought you back here a long time ago. So they did all kinds of tests and found out that probably having some liver issues, or I'm not looking forward to that, but anyhow. So then they wanted to I started an IV, and they said, well, we're going to give you something for your pain, make you relax and stuff. And of course I asked, what are you going to give me? And they mentioned fentanyl. And I said, I don't think I want that. I said, well, why not? And I said, because that's supposed to be quite a potent, medication. And they said, well, we aren't going to give you very much. And I said, how much are you going to give me? And he said, milligrams. I said, give me half of it. And he said, well, how come you don't want the whole dose? I said, because I want to be coherent. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what tests you're doing, all this stuff. So they listened to me, and they only gave me what I wanted. So when you go in there, you call the shots. You don't let them say, we're going to give you this, because you have every right to say no.
Well, I've been the advocate for somebody. In fact, that person I was being an advocate for was going through bad cancer, and they were in a lot of pain, but they went separate, and they didn't have any of their paperwork with them. But they went in. They went in for their tooth. My friend Link ended up having his tooth just totally abscessed, and went in, and they would not give him any kind of pain medication. And when he said, hey, I have this I normally have all this stuff I have liquid Vicodin for my cancer. He's like, can you guys get me this or that? And then they ended up sending a social worker in and asking him if he was addicted to drugs, and like talk to him like he was like a crackhead. And they're like, do you have a place to live?
Exactly.
I mean, I was just like so offended. This was at the University of Washington, and I was thinking, this was horrible. So I get what you're saying. And then I've also been with other folks. My aunt, she always advocates. She goes in there and she goes, no, you give them that. And actually that is a great thing to tell people, because you can ask, and don't be embarrassed. People are always embarrassed. If you're in pain, they've turned the whole thing upside down. The pharmaceutical companies and the doctors getting sued is just absurd. And now if you are in real pain, the whole system's messed up where you can't even actually ask for it. If you're in legit pain, they'll give you everything else but. It's pretty stupid. I get what you're saying there. So let me ask you this. When you were on the floor by the vending machine, you should have had somebody take photos and videos. Like even if they say that they're packed, or say there's 20 people coming in the emergency line, they should at least bring you a pillow. They should have at least put you up in the hallway. I mean, come on.
Oh, yes. I did take pictures, and they didn't seem to care about it.
Well, I'm sorry that happened, but do you think that there's something there that's kind of subtle that they are trying to get, trying to let the older folks go? Do you think that there's any kind of thing like population?
Absolutely, 100%. Those people. I mean, it was so sad. I mean, I'm ambulatory, even though I was in really excruciating pain. But these people that were there, I mean, they were like falling off the chairs. One lady, in my pain, I had to get up, help her to the bathroom. I told her, how old are you? She said, I'm 90, but I'm scared to go to the bathroom by myself. And they could have called somebody to take her in there. So I just walked with her and walked her to the bathroom, and then she's still been they waited there. I waited there for 12 hours. So when I called risk management, to make my complaint. And they asked me, first thing was, have you told anybody else about this? And I said, well, no, I'm calling you because you're at the top of the food chain here. So they said they're going to investigate. I got a letter 2 days ago, and they said, we're sorry this happened to you. We strive to make a good experience and blah, 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 but we were just too busy. And I said, you weren't too busy. I took pictures.
So you know why they said that, right? Have you talked to anybody? Have you talked to the news? Have you talked to outlets? I would say
exactly. Well, you know what? I'm working on that right now, but I'm not gonna let them know.
Because you know what also happens is whoever's at the checkout, whoever's at the check-in, if they just didn't like you for whatever reason, say you were calling the shots and they didn't like it, and they just kept putting you at the back of the line, that's something that is a federal crime. They can go to jail for that.
Yes.
So you know that though.
Yes.
You've been in the hospital system.
Yes, you know. Yep.
They could have been empty back there and tell you it's busy.
Okay, so then the next thing I also got a letter also saying this is a separate letter, but it had to do with my visit. Now they said from now on, if you need to go to the emergency room, do not go to the emergency room. Call this number and somebody will go to your house. Now, I'm not okay with that at all. I know some people are, but, first of all, my privacy is very important. Why should I let people come into my house, total strangers? Anybody could put a lab coat and say they're this or that or whatever, but come in and see. All they have to do is say, oh, how long you been taking, why are you taking those vitamins? Or why do you have this in your house? And what's this in your house? I'm 66 and I'm very able to take care of myself, but they could come up and say, no, you belong in a nursing home, or you can't take care of yourself anymore, and blah, blah, blah. That's what they're starting to do. And I told them, I'm not gonna do that.
Well,
I'm not going to allow people into my home.
It sounds like they're afraid of a lawsuit. It sounds like they might have looked into it and they found out that you might have been right. Just saying. I don't know if the chat agrees with me, but if they're saying, no, we'll come to you next time, you'll never have to deal with that again. That's something I don't hear very often. So maybe that hospital specifically knows that they screwed up. Or maybe they had multiple people from that day that were, maybe somebody was at the check-in was about to quit and was just screwing people over. Who knows? But thank you, Geneva, for calling. We're out of time. If there's one more thing that you want to say, go ahead.
Oh, just real quick is, so I had to go some lab work today, and they wanted to sign me, not a barcode. What's that other thing that's in the square box called?
QR code.
Yeah, they wanted to assign me one, and I told them no.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to. I don't want a QR code on my license, and that was actually my show just the other day. How Florida is assigning QR codes, and people go, well, there's already a barcode on my license. But yeah, what if you don't have a license and that's all you have is a QR code? What if the power goes out? What if the lights go out?
No.
What if the internet goes out?
I told them no. I said I'll do. Yeah, I told them I'll do this the old-fashioned way. We'll just talk, and I'll show you my ID. But no, I'm not. I don't. Thank you, but no, thank you. So.
I don't blame you.
I'm sure a lot of people just say yes.
Well, Geneva, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Okay. Well, you take care of your family, and God bless you. And I just wanted to remind everybody that no matter what, God's in control, and that's all that matters. That's the biggest preparation we need to prepare spiritually.
Well, God bless you as well, and I'm sorry that you had such a horrible experience at the ER, and I hope that gets fixed out, and I hope you never have to deal with that again. I really do. Thank you, Geneva, and you have a wonderful night.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. That was Geneva from Colorado. That pisses me off because I've dealt with it too, and I've seen it, especially with my friend Link. It's like, oh, man. And I've dealt with it myself. Have you ever been treated less than great if you're not dressed great? So say if you're in a hoodie or you're in crappy stuff, because, well, who knows? If you're going to the ER, it's not always planned, and you're not always dressed well. Or even gone into a store and you're not dressed the best, you're not feeling good. Maybe you're sick. You go into the store and you get followed around by security. Most people are saying, no, I never noticed that. But the people that do notice that, you guys know. It's the most insulting thing ever. But especially if you've ever been discriminated against, and not like race or religion, just they don't like you. And you can tell. If people get the wrong thing, doesn't matter what position, whether it be a restaurant or a store or a grocery store or wherever it may be. I know most of you have experienced that. Ilea says, according to Wikipedia, the Utah monolith arrived between July and October of 2016. I think Elon Musk took it, maybe for his baby nursery. What's weird, Ilea, is they say that it's been replaced, but somewhere else. Or it may be a separate one or a different one. I don't know. I didn't even get to put the story in. I saw it right before I went live. But Ilea, yeah, probably. He would probably do something like that. EOD Vet says, have you looked at a picture on your phone and looked at the details? My S10 auto-labels what the picture is with 50% accuracy without my consent. So the first time that I saw Facebook actually name my friends, I say you upload a photo or somebody else uploads a photo, and it would pre-tag it. It would already tag it. It already knew you were with Stephanie, John, and Jack. And these are photos that you just upload, and because they have them on file in their Facebook profiles, it had, oh, it's Stephanie, John, and Jack. And it knows who those people are. And what's even creepier, when I first found, and this is before Cambridge Analytica, I believe, 1 year before or a couple months before that big bust up happened, is when I saw a baby labeled. So it had facial recognition and it labeled the baby. It says, who are you with? Is this, and it goes like this, and it has you, but back then it had you confirm. I don't even know if they still have that, but it would say, are you with Stephanie, John, and Jack? And it would have you, and if it wasn't, we don't recognize this person, and then you could manually tag them. That way, when you were in the Facebook looking at a picture, you could hover over their face and click on their name. Super creepy. North Shore Preparedness says, Adam, your vid images from last night inspired me to post. Keep up the good work, brother. That was North Shore Preparedness. I'd love to see it. I love to see all of you guys get your own channels, get working, post whatever you can. Start your own voice. And then, of course, VidCom, thank you for the super chat. You, of course, can always write something with that. And then Bert Bjorg says, loving the live stream setup. Great content, too. We'll be watching a lot more of your vids. Keep it up. Good work. Thank you, Bart Borg. I appreciate that. I have not met a Bart in probably 10 years. That's awesome. Great name. Gloria Walker says, Merry Christmas to the Marfoogle family. Wish it could be more. Oh, don't worry about that. I wish everybody has a wonderful Christmas this Christmas. Let's see here. Not happy holidays. Susan Donahue, get prepped up, get prayed up, put on the full armor of God. We are hashtag Team Humanity, and we are brothers keepers. Susan, you always get the bow of Susan, the bow of Donahue. Thank you so much. Seriously, thank you for supporting Independent for a long time now. You have been supporting the show for 2 years off and on, and I really do appreciate it. Carmen Gizzy, thank you so much. Not to get off the subject, but find out why the military is filling up all the hotel rooms in Round Rock and Austin, Texas, next to Fort Hood. Again, if you missed that, Carmen Gizzy super chatted, not to get off subject, but find out why the military is filling up all of the hotel rooms in Round Rock and Austin, Texas, next to Fort Hood. That's a weird one. Have any guesses? Joseph Newhouse says, yo, I did a video about Chinese goddess that you mentioned. Then it was 48 hours later, new music videos with Holy Grail moon symbolism. Thanks, yo. Joseph Newhouse, I'm so glad that you're still creating and making videos and bouncing off of what we talk about here. Jesus Christ is our Lord. We need to send our prayers and love to Marf, Dex, and Mods and Foogle family from the Johnny Doom family, says Johnny Doom wifey. That was Johnny Doom's wife. Thank you so much, Mrs. Johnny Doom. And then, of course, really, thank you so much for your generous support. It says, again, thank you for all Adam and Dex give us. Thank you. Hey, really, I really do appreciate that, and I know Dex does too. All right. So we're going to fly through almost 1/3 of the small businesses have closed. If you are in the United States or anywhere around the country or around the world and you have been affected by the current events and have closed your business, please let me know. You can also hit me up on Twitter at Marfoogle. You can DM me. I would love to know if you have a small business that has now been closed down or cannot sustain itself because of the recent events with the virus. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to interview you. Again, I know personally a lot of people that are being affected. Their businesses are no longer there. I have my sister who was working with cruise ship companies. She is no longer employed. I have family that works for banks, and they are basically cut from their regular career job because they were doing things around. They would go from place to place. They can't travel anymore. They can't do their positions. I have family that owns small shops. I have family that does basically art that sell on kind of, what do you call it? These, trade shows. No more trade shows, or at least not the ones that they sell at. All of these people have lost their complete livelihoods because of what is going on right now. So if you've been affected, please let me know. But again, 1/3 in New Jersey, here, we have stores and restaurants that are never coming back. As you heard when I went live, I recorded live from outside of Beth's Cafe. If you're from Seattle, there's no way you do not know about Beth's Cafe. Unless you're from Seattle, but you've never actually bothered to get to know Seattle. You've been to Beth's Cafe. Beth's Cafe, as I was streaming outside, the two women who I recognize because they've been waitresses there since they were teenagers, and before that they were sitting next to me eating potatoes and smoking cigarettes before the law went into effect. That place is a greasy spoon that anyone and everyone who's ever been to Seattle has been to. And it is now, because of the capacity and the things that our governor is doing, is not going to reopen. And they said, we're going to try. If the governor pulls his head out of his butt, we might be able to survive. But again, they've been posting on Facebook. They're most likely going to be closed forever. Something that has been a staple of Seattle, been something that has literally been a part of people's childhoods, is going to be gone. Gone. So a lot of people are tired of it. And they're trying to balance this because they realize that people are getting really pissed off. Just to say, New Jersey, like most of the U.S., is currently experiencing a surge of new cases. It says over 329,000, or AKA, those are my whale sounds because that's all I hear at this point. New Jersey recorded 4,000, the most it has ever reported in a single day. Okay, so another thing too, just bombshells are dropping left and right. And people are continuing to hit snooze. So moving on, Bitcoin hits new record, this time with less talk of a bubble. So if Bitcoin is, what is it at now? By the way, Dex, it is at 19,783. Dex, you are our resident Bitcoin expert. You used to be into it. You got out of it after it kind of dropped and were like, nah, not dealing with this anymore. But you were big into Bitcoin, right?
Well, yeah, I was covering a lot of the crypto space back in the day, and I didn't get out. I still believe in its future, and this is sort of what a lot of us said would eventually happen, and it took a while. I think a lot of this is obviously speculation on what the outcome of events are, and what may or may not take place with the economics, and whether or not we start to move towards the digital economy at a more rapid pace, and then that would then put a greater emphasis on this market.
So, I mean, I specifically, when it was at 3,000, it was at just under 4,000 in March. It is now almost at 20,000. I remember even before that, people laughed at people saying, no, it's going to be 20,000. It's going to be up, one Bitcoin is going to be 20,000. And I specifically remember comments saying, you are smoking crack, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Because it was one of my friends saying it on their YouTube channel. And people were, you're smoking crack, blah, it's going to fail, blah, blah. And it very well could. But now it's back up at 20,000, and I'm just thinking, I wonder if they went back and deleted those comments.
Well, in December, right around this time, what was it, 3 years ago, when it was at its high back then of like 18, 19,000, I had purchased it as gifts for family members and friends. And I felt like horrible 4 months later thinking, oh, all your gifts are worthless right now. But now, hey, they're back to where they started from. It just took a few years.
So when you buy Bitcoin, a lot of people don't know, surprisingly, that you don't have to buy, it's not an actual coin. I know that sounds stupid, but people think it's one coin and you buy that one coin, it's like a gold coin. You can buy percentages. You can buy 0.0001% of a Bitcoin.
Correct. Yeah, you buy in, you can buy in any fraction. There's only so many digits it goes down, but if you needed $10 worth of Bitcoin, you can buy $10 worth of Bitcoin.
Wow, that's it's a trip that it's at 20,000. It's the time to buy. Just kidding. I don't know.
Hey, go back to that disclaimer at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. So Bitcoin, the one thing that this is a sign of is that we are going to get back. We're heading more towards digital, and for those that support it, they're saying, yeah, this is the future. But at the same time, they're working out ways that they can turn this into a even worse demon system. So who knows? Drinking hot cocoa could make you smarter, especially if it's enriched with this. This isn't the start of a Jeopardy episode. This is an actual factoid. It says, as winter arrives, hot tea and cocoa naturally become a popular drink choice with a lot of people under 7. It says a new study finds drinking cocoa is not just the popular choice, it may also be the smart choice as well. Researchers at University of Birmingham find consuming flavanol-rich foods, commonly found in cocoa, increases the drinker's mental performance. It says flavanols are a group of molecules which occur naturally in fruits and vegetables. They're a member of the plant flavonoid family and are common in cocoa, grapes, apples, tea, berries, and even wine. While previous studies reveal those molecules can improve brain health, the new report also finds that they stimulate brain food oxygenation levels. So drink your cocoa, people, and get over that cognitive dissonance.
I'm hoping that counts for mocha in coffee.
No, it doesn't. In fact, I think the more mocha you drink, the stupider you get. What are you talking about?
Adam, I also realized we had a technical glitch, and I think you may have mentioned it, so if you already covered it, that's fine. I was on the phone, but there was a couple of articles we were going to talk about, and we don't need to go through the articles.
It has electrolytes.
There you go.
I'll pull it up. They're not in here. Can you put them in screener?
So what we want to talk about is those two events that happened in Ryan. And you may have brought it up earlier, but the articles are on the website. I'll put them up in screener, but I think we should at least let people know what we think is going on there.
So, okay. So it is getting extremely serious with some of the events that have gone around the world. This ties into what I was saying about Russia as far as how they left it open for retaliation. Whether they say it's tied in or not, we have over 500. And in fact, when we had our Discord up, which they believed was a huge kind of threat type thing to the point where the whole thing was taken down, because we did have over 500 active military and retired military. What we have been hearing is that the recent events have triggered higher alerts, and retaliation would at least be in the form of internet or services. So we've already had 911 go down at least once. We've had hospitals ransomware, And of course they say, oh, it's this company or it's Valhalla or it's this doing it for money. These all have big ties. To be able to take down systems that big, they are tied into something. So we just want to, again, disclaim, this is, again, something you can take as you wish. So let's see.
I think the scary part is, when the first thing happened, which was the top scientist, that was a big deal. And I was expecting, I think a lot of us were expecting, we were hearing that something was going to happen, but then another hit happened just, I think, yesterday, of another top person. So that was pretty quick for two to happen on one side and nothing to be in return yet. So I think that's what we got to, like you said, I would suspect, just like you're getting from the intel you have, that is exactly where we would be looking at, outside of just maybe some of the more easy stuff that's in maybe the allied areas over there that would be easier targets. But yeah, the cyber is probably reachable for them and something we should be paying attention to.
So this scientist linked to military nuclear program was taken out. This is a big deal because he had very, very connected ties. In fact, one of the people that were previously in our group was in 1988 actually met with this man and basically had to chauffeur him around while he was in the United States. This gentleman was ahead of things in 1988 that happened in 2001. So there's that, right? Then, of course, let me upload this too. This is the U.S. government took him out, right? Want to make sure everybody pays attention to this. And then there was this gentleman. And of course, there's Soleimani was earlier. That, which they said. So one thing to remember, Soleimani was supposedly, according to the president and other sources, planning something that was 2001, only bigger, right? Something huge. Or as he said, huge. There were 2 strikes. One on Soleimani, successful. His right-hand man, that strike missed. So technically that plan could still be carried out. But get this. Drone strike reportedly takes out one of the IRGC's commanders in Western Iraq. It says a drone strike took out one of the commanders of the guard. In the Al Anbar province bordering Syria. Says Al reported on Monday, citing sources. According to the TV channel, Shadhar's car was targeted on Sunday evening after it passed Al-Qaim checkpoint. 3 people who accompanied the commander also perished in this attack. So those were his right-hand man or his entourage. This is a big deal too. And this has a very big shroud around it, even on the dark web. That is what we're hearing. This is big. That's why I tweeted out earlier that this has got some big things behind it. So, what does this mean? Well, obviously it means they're pissed off, or at least the public is going to say they're pissed off, and then it's a very good reason that something could go out in the next month or 2 months. And they'll say, oh, it was from this. Got to have some sort of retaliation. And if you're talking about some of the teams that they say exist, if you believe that, then they've got hacking teams that could take out some serious stuff. So I'd highly recommend just be head on a swivel and make sure, if you're in public places, by the way, make sure just in general, this is something you should know all the time since 2001. Know your exits. Know what is around you. If there's metal doors or something that can protect you from anything, make sure to know a way out. Make sure to know where your family is. If you've got kids, say in the mall, know what stores. As you go shopping, check it out. Do they have a back door? Do they have an exit to the outside of the mall? Keep these things in mind. If you are in a public space, if you're at a bar sitting out on the deck, make sure think about things that you don't normally think about. Is this a metal table? Can I flip this table? Get what I'm saying? Gone Girl 777, thank you so much. Gem, Grand Maravan, thank you for being here. Gone Girl, thank you so much again for being here tonight. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for being an awesome woman. Thank you for Gem. Thank you from Europe. Thank you for letting us know what's going on over there. That Chowky gal, the truth is out there. Keep your head on a swivel, Foogle fam. You guys know, and you guys tell each other too. You guys are one of the best and the most amazing audiences. You are one of the best friends I have, all of you guys. Seriously, the conversations that I have with you offline, I seriously cherish each and every one of you. I wish I could talk to all of you more. At this point, we really need to lock arms. Red Rover, send these buttholes right over, and we're going to smash them, okay? That might have not been very couth, but it's with good intentions. April Osborne, Lady Green Eyes, Renegade PD, Scooby-Doo Do-Right. Looks Ice Pick Lobotomy is still here. Thank you for staying almost the whole show. Or you've been here the whole show, really. Morning Flower, Johnny Doom, Snowboard, Maui Racing Realtor. Thank you guys all who have helped out tonight. Nana Deborah. Let's get our next caller on. It looks like we have Unico. And by the way, Backwoods Ingenuity, I do see you. Hey, Marf and Dex, hope y'all are doing well, staying safe and prepped. Question, how to deal with creator's block? ML, live free, travel light, work hard. I would say don't worry about uploading something that isn't perfect. Once you do, then you might bounce off something else. Do a crappy video. To have a good channel, they say that you have to do 1,000 bad videos. And it's true. Almost all YouTube channels, go back to the very beginning, you'll see thousands or hundreds of horrible videos. That's how you get there. It doesn't matter if you upload. Once you upload, they're their own little thing in YouTube. Nobody's going to go back through 60 videos and go back to them. So just upload and don't worry about what people think. The AK-907, and I've had a problem with that too. The AK-907 Biatch, I think that's what that says. Thank you so much. Hotwired Barb, I appreciate you. And Snapper B says, much love to Foogle fam. So nice to see you here tonight. All right, let's get Unico from Minnesota, first-time caller.
Adam, I need another second. We had a technical issue. I'm getting her back.
Oh, okay, no worries. Says a creature designated organism 46B was an aquatic beast allegedly captured by a Russian scientific team. That's a trip. In fact, that sounds a lot like the scientific... what was that called? The scientific sub that caught fire and 14 people die, evading a planetary catastrophe. Who knows what happened with that? And then over on YouTube, looks like London's here. When you don't succeed, try again, says Way Witzak. Of course, Lindy Kaz, Jesus sent us, the angel of Church of Philadelphia. It scrolled by too fast. Sorry about Lindy. Able-bodied, hey, Backwoods Ingenuity. We've got Carol Mega. Technical issue, only when truth is spat in the comments, LOL. No. In fact, everything is there. Wide Awake and Angry. Government Liars. Let's see. Aquandeer. Let's see. Sounds a lot like it. Charlie64. It was Black Geo. Fifth time's a charm, says Twisted Luck Truth. Jules Mark Davis. T-Check. Lee. Says, my internet crashed, LOL. Looks like that's That might have been what's going on. Gunny, Bubba One says government lies should be common knowledge by now. They should be, but they're not. Diana Ross, how's baby Jack and the girls? Well, thank you for asking. I'm going to be posting some stuff on Instagram. And then Deanna Walters is here tonight. Crazy times we live in. Lily says had to reset the router. Tara Belay, Jen Kilmery. Okay. Well, if we can't get Unico
Adam,
on, then we
if
can
we can't
skip.
get her back, she did provide an article. If you want to pull that up and read it. It looks like I'm getting her, so just give me one more second.
Okay, I'll pull up this in anyways and get that ready. All right, so this is Monster Wiki, and it says organism 46B. Let's see, it sounds like this is going to have sound, so let me mute that. Don't know when some Pink Floyd song is going to come on here. Let's see here. Get rid of that guy. Okay, so it says description, organism 46-B is an enormous 33-foot long, 14-tentacled squid-like creature which lived in Lake Vostok, a subglacial lake located 2 miles of ice under beneath Vostok Station in the Antarctic. The animal could release a toxin into the water to immobilize its prey from a distance of up to 150 feet. Displayed an astonishing degree of shape-shifting, its limbs were animate and aggressive even after amputation. It showed a considerable degree of both hostility and intelligence. So,
and Adam, we have Unico live on air now.
So Unico, first of all, I actually believe in a lot of stuff like this because look at octopus. Look at octopi, I guess, and squid. They can change color. They have one of the craziest bodies. They can fit through anything if it's at least the size of their eye or bigger. They can change and morph their body. So it sounds like this thing was like that. Am I right? It was something like that, only way deadlier.
Yeah, it has actually 14 tentacles apparently. This was discovered under Lake Vostok. I'm sorry, I'm really nervous and like a little bit buzzed up too, so just bear with me. But I'm gonna rip through through what I know.
Oh, go ahead. You're all good. You're just talking to me.
All right. So it's Lake Vostok. It's under Antarctica, and it's the largest subglacier lake that they've ever discovered or known of at this point. And it's like it was buried or covered, totally isolated for like at least 15 million years. And they spent about 20 years trying to drill down to it. And it's like miles through the ice, right? Like I think about 2 miles. And in like 2012, I believe, they finally like made like a elevator shaft towards thing, like where they could bring people down to it. And Russian scientists did this. And they brought 8 people down there, and a lot of people died. Like this thing has 14 tentacles instead of 8. It shapeshifts. It can like it's ink sac or whatever, where they normally like blast out. Like it can like shock, like Dex said, or like you said, from 150 feet away or whatnot, and paralyze. So it's a little bit creepy, but one of the guys from the team defected to Switzerland in like 2012. And he was nervous because he was afraid that he knew that Russia was going to like use the secret information as a military weapon, as a nerve agent and whatnot.
So let me ask you this. So you're saying that okay, so first of all, if you have never seen any kind of documentary on octopus, just regular ones, the ones that are, there's giant squid, of course, which, by the way, people thought were myths and legends, and I believe we've only found one living, and then there's been several they find them dead. They don't find them living because they are so elusive, and you could see why if you actually see the smaller ones. They have the most advanced skin layers. They not only can they create different colors with their skin and match a background perfectly, the military has actually tried to basically take the octopus, the real systems that they have, and try to figure out how to make real camouflage just like this animal does, because they have these certain pigment sacs that stretch out, and as they stretch out, they pull different colors to the surface. But on top of that, they can only get the certain colors like that. On top of that, they have something that's even crazier. Underneath these sacs, they have what is basically a mirror, and the mirror shines back light depending on which angle the light is coming from. It can reflect and add to the red or blue or red or yellow or whatever it does, the combination, and add that third color. So they can turn blue, they can turn red, they can turn basically any color. And not only just like they're not all blue or all red, they can match what they are looking at. And they have eyes on both sides. They can match what's on either side and look exactly like a coral or look exactly like the sand. Once you see that, you're like, this is straight off of an alien movie. And this is right here on Earth. This is something that is real. So I've never doubted that we have things in our sea, including Loch Ness. Could be just a dinosaur that was extremely good at keeping up. I mean, think about it. The flood's not going to knock out any sea animals. This thing looks scary as hell, and I would not want to run into it. But here's where it could fall apart, according to the AI algorithm, is, how easy does this fall apart? Why would they want to use it? You're saying that they might grab like a substance from the squid and use that as a neurotoxin?
Why would they not want to study it and take what they could from it?
I thought it was
like Russia. Russia found it, and National Geographic reported it, reported that they had gone down there, and they're like, "There's nothing there. There's actually nothing there under the lake." I mean, it was all very suppressed, and there was the detector. So I don't know, that in itself is a little bit curious.
That is so weird. Well, and why did the guy who got poisoned, the Russian that got poisoned, and the other one, they said, oh well, this kind of nerve toxin is only made there, and that's how we know it's from there. I wonder if that's
only 5 out of 8 people survived.
Oh yeah. No, as far as the poison that they used against Putin's enemy or whatever, his competition.
Well, these people that went down there, only 5 out of 8 survived. They totally lost contact with the surface for multiple days, and 5 out of 8 went back up.
That is creepy.
And you can look it up. It's organism 46B. There's a lot on it. It was just largely suppressed.
Wow, this is incredible.
And it's especially interesting.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, this is incredible, and this is real. It's Lake Vostok is now, and do you guys remember we've covered Vostok a lot? There's a lot of military up there. For whatever reason, the Russian military are just all over the place. They've shifted weapons there. They've shifted all sorts of stuff.
Now, Adam?
I'm sorry?
There's a lot of military up there now?
Yes. Vostok, Dex, you can chime in too. We've covered this. In Vostok, they have moved serious weapons. In fact, let me show you. So, Vostok military.
There's bad stuff there.
Look at they call it Vostok 2018. 10 years of Russian strategic exercises. Vostok, meaning east, is part of a system of strategic exercises that the Russian armed forces have been developing since 2009. It is one of the 4 named annual strategic exercises conducted on a rotating basis among 4 of Russia's 5 military districts. So maybe that's what I'm thinking. Vostok is the actual exercise, but they say
They were trying to talk about it since the 70s, and they finally drilled a hole down to it. I don't know why they decided that they needed to get there, but it was a very concerted effort, very targeted.
Well, it's very interesting stuff. Now, I've never heard of this, so somehow I overlooked a 14-tentacle squid, and this thing looks like the most...
it was largely covered. It was very hush-hush. And so, I was surprised that, I asked Dex if you guys had covered it before, and when he said you hadn't, I was like, oh, I need to get on there.
No, I think it's fascinating.
I think you guys should have me. Yeah, I wanted to look into it further, and I still am, but I figured that you guys can do a better job at that than I can. So I wanted to pass it along to you.
Well, now that I know, I will definitely be looking to it. In fact, they should make a movie about it. That sounds like the most awesome horror movie ever. And if it's real,
right,
you'd probably know why they're not making a movie about it. Well,
yeah.
Well, thank you, Unico, for calling, and I appreciate your call. And please, it's your first time call. Don't make it your last.
All right, if I have something to say again, I will.
All right, perfect.
Thank you. I love you.
Well, thank you so much for calling, and love you too. Bye-bye. That was Unico. I've never heard of that. I just don't know how I missed that. I've heard of Vostok, and Vostok we've covered a bunch of times because that is also the name of their military exercises. I was thinking it was a place in my head. I was thinking that, but I'm pretty sure there's also a place called Vostok, or they're holding Vostok in a certain place and they were shifting weapons as part of Vostok. If you can correct me on that, then feel free. Again, that's from off the top of my head. Baker's Babe says, Marf and Dex, love always to use and yours family. Well, thank you so much. Let's see here. So, great show tonight. We actually ran a little bit long here. Dex, I don't know how much time we have left. Do we have, I don't know how long we've ran here. Hold on. I'm sorry, what was that, Dex?
We have about just under 15, maybe 14 minutes left.
Okay.
And by the way, Vostok is a famous Russian name, and I believe they named a Vostok station, which is above Vostok Lake, that because of one of the great ships that was the first Russian ship that went to but the first expedition to Antarctica from Russia military. The ship's name was Vostok. So that name is sort of gets carried around quite a bit. But then they named the place in Antarctica the Vostok Station, and then they discovered the lake below it, so they obviously just took the name and called it Vostok Lake.
Okay, so and then it's kind of like a high school named Roosevelt then. So it could, you know what I mean?
Used all over the place.
Yeah. Okay, no, I got you. Thank you for letting us know that. Or, some Russian sitting here watching us like, these guys are dummies. My uncle Vostok and my cousin Vostok are laughing their butts off. Oh, Vostok, those guys. I might have pulled my vodka. Vostok. Yeah, I pulled my Vostok while drinking my Vostok in Vostok, riding my Vostok down to the Vostok. And now that we've thoroughly offended any Russian watching, I appreciate all of you for being here tonight, and thank you. Again, we tried to keep it as entertaining as possible, and much love to all of you guys. On a real note, I hope you guys listened between the lines or read between the lines. Please keep your heads on a swivel for the next 3.5 weeks, specifically 4 weeks. And I just hope that all of you guys have a safe and wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. Dex, thank you, my internet brother.
Great show, brother.
It is
Much
now
love.
time for the official shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. It's where I say thank you to all of you to a funky beat. Thank you. Skycat, Shadowhead's brilliance. Oh, come girl, 7-7, gonna bring it back on down.
I see your papers, please? Can 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 I see your papers, please?